Hey guys, welcome to Electronic Dance Money, your number one business resource for making money as electronic musicians and producers. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to a brand new episode of Electronic Dance Money. I hope you are all doing super well. This will probably be a pretty short episode, I think. This is an interesting conversation, I think, that we're about to have, especially for you younger artists or those that are, starting to play shows. And, depending on the city that you're in, these rules could potentially be different. There were rules, I would say. Let's start maybe 10 years ago. There were rules when you were working with a promoter as an artist and you wanted to start opening up and playing shows. A lot of what they did is promoters would force you to sell tickets. So they're like, okay, you need to bring X amount of heads in the door and sell 20 tickets. If you can sell 20 tickets, then the slot is yours. And they would even have artists compete for slots. So like the more tickets you sold, you would get a better slot. It's pretty outdated. And if you ask me, pretty archaic. It kind of defeats the entire purpose of a fucking promoter, right? We've talked a lot about record labels in the past and how most record labels nowadays are just glorified distributors, right? Record labels are supposed to be taking a percentage of the record that you're releasing with them, and they are going to invest a certain amount of dollars into that record. And the whole point of them taking a percentage is that they recoup that, they make that money back, and they get a return on their investment. And so that means that you don't necessarily need to have all of the marketing stuff in place. Now, should you go that route? Probably not. In terms of like, you want to have your own marketing plan set up, you want to be testing your own stuff. Promoters are it's the same thing as a fucking promoter that is telling the artist that they need to sell X amount of tickets in order to get the slot. It's like, well, why do I have to sell tickets if you're the one that's supposed to be promoting the event? You're supposed to be selling the tickets. And on top of that, then the promoters will be like, you're also going to play the show for free. So they're telling you to go out of your way to go work, and they're also not going to pay you any money. So it really does fuck you pretty hard. And I want to talk about that because I've got a buddy right now who is in that situation where he is being told he's required to sell X amount of tickets in order to play this show. And it really is a scumbag move. And he's struggling to sell, I think, the last 10 tickets or so that he needs to sell. There are going to be situations where you get put in this position where you may have to sell some tickets. And I think this is where it becomes vitally important that you be as active in your scene as you possibly can, going out to local shows as much as you can, meeting other artists, and meeting the individuals, the fans that are going to those shows as well. And if you're opening up and, there's 10 people in the crowd for your set, and maybe by the end there's 20, and you see a handful of people really vibing to the set, go out and introduce yourself to those people. Find them on social media, get them to either follow you or you follow them, and get their information and become friends with them. So, if you play 4 or 5 shows and you get 4 or 5 people to reach out to you or stay connected with you, well, now you're in a position where if you do run into a promoter that's telling you, hey, you have to sell 25 tickets, well, guess what? You probably have almost 20 people that you can reach out to just that you've met at other shows that will buy tickets and go to that show and check you out. And maybe the last 5 people could be your other close friends. It could be other artists, but this just drives home the importance of you going out, making friends, getting connected with fans and other artists in the industry, and building up that, you could say building up a guest list of individuals that you can go to that will buy a $10 ticket from you or a $20 ticket, and they'll go check you out at the show. So this really, it's a safety net for you in this position. Because, I've got my buddy who is in this position. he's starting to get out more and get more connected, and he's been able to sell a majority of the tickets that he's needed to sell, which is great. And I think the only way he's been able to do that is that he does have friends in the scene that he's met. And I would tell him to go out and be more involved with the scene. Go out to a show, once a week if you can, if not once every 2 weeks, and meet people. And if you're opening up for a show, meet the individuals in the crowd, especially if you're like the first opener. There's not going to be a ton of people there. There's going to be a few, but that gives you an opportunity to get some one-on-one time with those individuals, get to know them, and they'll probably respect you and want to come out and hang out with you the next time you play a show, because you gave them that time of day to be a recognized face, someone that they want to spend more time with. Now, this comes to the other point of this conversation, the other part of this episode that I really wanted to talk about, and I mentioned it at the beginning, where promoters will have you sell tickets, which is fucking ridiculous in my opinion. Then they're a worthless promoter and they shouldn't be in this industry if they don't know how to sell tickets. If that's the situation where they're making you sell tickets, you better get paid for something. Maybe that's a percentage of the tickets you sell, and you bring that up. Hey, can I make 10% off of every ticket that's sold? So if it's a $20 ticket, $20 per ticket, and you're required to sell 20 tickets, well, you're making $2 off each ticket. You can make $40. So maybe for an hour-long set, it's $40. And if you sell more, then you make more. So there is an incentive there for you to actually want to sell tickets. It's not just for the slot, but it's that if you do bring more heads, you will make more money, and so will the promoter. The worst thing that you could possibly do, and we mentioned this in the episode with Paxton, which I'll put in the show notes. We had mentioned this about photographers and DJs. The worst thing for you to do for yourself and other individuals, other artists in the industry, is to not get paid, is to accept an opening slot without a dollar value to that. I would say the bare minimum should be $50. Once you start becoming a more recognized face in the scene, you bring more heads. Maybe you start getting better slots. That should be bumped up to $100, maybe $200, especially if you're like known for bringing 50 heads in the door. For sure, you should be getting paid that, because you assume that each individual is going to pay $2, or they're going to, not $2. They're going to get 2 drinks, probably more, some less. And those drinks are going to be like $10 a pop. And that's a good chunk of change that the promoter is making off of, or I should say the venue is making off the bar. And you brought those individuals there, so you should get paid for that too. You should be getting some sort of cut. So do not take any of these opener positions. Don't take any of these slots without getting paid something. Sure, at the beginning, it's not going to be a lot, but you're fucking over yourself when you say, I'll do it for free. Then the promoter is going to expect you to do it for free every single time. And then if another artist comes in and goes, yeah, I'll do an opening slot, but it's going to be $50. Well, the promoter is going to say, yeah, well, no, I'm not doing that because I have this individual over here who will do it for free. I'll just go to them. They'll do it for free for me. I'll make more money off the show, or the venue will make more money off the show. And so now you're fucking over an artist that maybe should get the slot because they are really good. They will bring heads, but because they want to get charged and you're not going to charge, well, you're fucking them over. And you're going to fuck over the other individuals that are trying to break into the scene. And this just cascades down. It never ends. If every single DJ out there, especially opener DJs, said, no, we're not doing this until we get paid, well, now the promoter is forced to having to pay someone. And then everyone can get paid. So do not accept any position, any slot without getting paid something. And if they're not going to pay you, fuck them. They're not worth your time. It's not worth going to them because they don't see the value in you. They're not going to treat you right. They're not gonna do the things they need to do to make sure that you can be as successful as possible. They don't give a shit about you. At that point, they're just going to try to use you as much as possible so they can make as much money as possible and look better to their boss or whatever. Fuck that shit. You need to get paid. Everyone needs to get paid. So don't accept any fucking slots without getting paid something. And if the promoter wants to bargain with you on what that payment is, then yeah, that makes sense. Sometimes that'll happen. But make sure you have some sort of negotiation tactic involved, right? Okay, well, if you want to pay me less, then I should be able to get X amount of people on my guest list or something. Or, okay, can I get X amount of drinks for free? Or can I bring in this merch that I want to give out to people? Like, there are specific negotiation tactics that you can bring in where they aren't going to pay you. DJ Sean J, he was on like episode 16, which I'm talking to him again. I'm going to bring him back in. We're going to actually talk about how he was able to keep his DJ business afloat during all of COVID, because I think he's got so much great knowledge to share with managing a business that you have to be interactive with people and actually playing in a physical space, managing that type of business and being able to get through a pandemic. So I think it's going to be a really good conversation with him, but he even mentions this, not every club you go to or bar or venue you go to is going to have the budget to pay you $1,000 to come play a show. And this is where negotiation tactics become very important. Can you bring something that the bar can use that has your information on it to promote yourself, right? Maybe they're cups, maybe they're koozies, maybe it's stickers or something. Like, if you're able to bring something that gets your name out there, well, awesome. And you can throw your QR code on there so people can scan it, find your socials. Like, and a lot of the times, even the promoter will be like, yeah, sure, we can do that, because then it lowers their cost, right? They're not using their resources, they're using yours, but you're getting something really beneficial out of it. Those people will be using those things all throughout the show. Maybe up until the headliner, they don't want that sort of thing happening, but have some sort of negotiation tactic in your back pocket ready in case they do end up wanting to bargain with you, because you will get those situations when you start asking for money. So, watch out for fucking promoters who are trying to get you to sell tickets as an opener. They're usually not the best promoters. If you are having to sell tickets, make sure before you get in that position, you're going out, meeting individuals. That way you can, you can increase your roster of people to reach out to sell tickets that are in your town that will come out to the show. And then on top of that, don't play anything without getting paid. Get paid. Try to get paid before you even play, because chasing promoters down for payment is a fucking nightmare. Paxton could tell you all about that. It is the worst thing to do. Try to get paid before you play. And that's about it, guys. Head to enviousaudio.com/episode 98. And I'll talk to you guys later. Take care.